Hey everyone, this is Boba the Vulture, and I have the Mugen NSX as my car. And, it's time to go earn some money with it in the Gran Turismo All-Stars at the Red Rock Valley. Red Rock Valley, stick Alright. Let's see if I actually got my controls set up properly this go around. I swear I'll switch the controller to analog mode as opposed to digital mode in the little like PlayStation 3 menu thing, and then it'll revert itself back at some inconvenient time. An inconvenient time being pretty much any time for it to do that. Some kind of buzzing bee behind me there. The old Jaguar XJR 15 or whatever that thing was called. Panning over corners a little bit crazily and lazily. Trying to get my eyes adjusted. I'm sort of sitting at the screen from an odd angle. Excuse me. So I believe 2 days ago, / for me a couple seconds ago, I was talking about how it's odd how the car that I own now is kind of a reflection of the time and place I was in when I bought it, more so than it is a reflection of where I am right now. So yeah, space of it is one thing, but basically one of the bigger things was in the area where I was living before. I didn't really have like a large social group that I was hanging out with. And anytime I was hanging out with people, I was heading out of town to do it. And if I was going and staying at somebody's place or something like that, when I got there, I'd expect them to drive me around. I did all the driving to get there. So the fact that I didn't have a lot of room to like pile people into my car wasn't that big a deal. So, yeah. Whereas now, like, this past weekend, I was on a, I was going on a long trip with 2 other people, and the person whose car we usually took, the car was having, like, a very slight mechanical problem, but it was with the headlights, so you wouldn't want to, and we were going to be driving at night, so, you know, you don't want to be going out at night when your headlights are acting up weird. But it basically meant that, you know, we had to take this other person's car, even though this was not the person that would be driving. And we couldn't take mine, even though I was fine to drive the trip, because we were going someplace I knew how to get. I mean, with GPS, it's not that difficult for someone else to get to someplace you know, but, you know, still. If you have, like, 3 people going, and 2 of them, like, lived there, and 1 did not, probably one of the people that lived there is going to do the driving, just because it just makes way more sense that way. But I couldn't volunteer my car because somebody would be spending like a 2.5 hour trip sort of like curled up into a little ball in my back seat, because the legroom would be okay, not great, behind the passenger if the passenger moved their seat up. The headroom back there is terrible because it's this like very sloping coupe-like profile, which I'm sure is great for aerodynamics and style, but for actually subjecting someone to being back there, that's kind of mean. Wow, I was about to slide out on a bank turn that high with a car with this much downforce. That's extreme! Seriously, let's not actually spin out, though. I do still want to win this race for the money and prizes. Mostly the prizes, if I'm honest. The money part is not that big a deal. I mean, that said, I'm more after the prizes because the prizes are worth money. Stay back. Stay back there. Bring it back to the carpet. Alright. So I got that stuff that I was looking for. Alright, let's exit. Excuse me. New car acquired. You better believe I'm gonna save the game. You'd better believe it. This is Butterworth's. Alright, so basically there's a couple special edition cars that I should be picking up here in the near future. We'll see whether or not, I don't remember. We can now quickly go find out whether or not any of them were $500,000. Plan on getting all of these individual prize cars eventually. Basically, for any of these one-make races, you're almost certainly good enough or fine enough with just race modifying whatever the regular car is. You won the unmodified version, the unracing version of that one-make race. I'm not explaining this very well, but let's go look at an example, shall we? Let's go to North City. Well, okay, yeah. Let's look at the Audi dealership. Now, we have an Audi TT, and there is an Audi TT event here for normal style and racing style. Now, if I just race modified the TT that I have right now, I could probably go in there and do a number on the racing style event. But this is overkill, and overkill's nice. So I'm going to want to do that once I have the $1 million necessary to do it. I don't have the $1 million necessary to do it right now because I'm not the $1 million man Ted DiBiase. Although I don't know that the $1 million man Ted DiBiase has $1 million these days, actually. Who knows if he ever had $1 million? It was a gimmick, folks. Also $1 million. Do they describe this thing? They are only at this point describing the regular road car. Yeah, that's not what's going on here exactly. The Alpha 155, interestingly, was uh, very popular in the DTM, which was the Deutsche Tourenwagen Meisterschaft or something like that. It's now the Deutsche Tourenwagen Masters, I think, is what it stands for now. Um, because the series actually, after the era of those cars, the 155, it competed against the Mercedes C-Class of the time, and was Opel the other make that was running at that point? Possibly. Possibly. Um, but those cars were really expensive and fancy, and they had a lot of like electronic doodads and stuff like that on them. They were pretty popular. People really liked them. People really liked what was going on there. You know what, let's just earn another $500,000 as quickly as possible. Let's get the Escudo out there. I mean, you saw that I was able to win that race with that other car. Now we're just gonna go over there and crush things. Like we were Hawkman. We're gonna dive on them. I don't know why that makes sense. And I know. You're gonna tell me it doesn't make sense. And you're probably right. But, yeah. So, yeah. I like how I do so much bounding back and forth and not completing thoughts in these Gran Turismo videos. Because I'm so relaxed. I'm so, like, there's a combination of being really focused on the game and being really relaxed, because Gran Turismo driving is a chill experience for me, man. Just get out here and do it. There we go. That's a slight flick there, but yeah. So, yes, my disjointed thoughts. Going back to the whole explanation I had of how now I have a car that, at the time, I was like, I kind of wanted it. At the time, I wanted a super cool sports car, but I couldn't get one. Didn't have enough money. I mean, I might have been able to afford to finance one, but you know, I was not making a lot of money at that job at that time. I'm not making a lot of money at the job I have now. Well, I mean, I suppose that's not entirely fair. There are definitely parts of the country and world where the amount of money that I make would be plenty fine to get by. You could even support your, you know, support your middle-class family on it. Not so here. But yeah. I wanted a super cool sports car. I ended up with a Civic Coupe, which certainly looks kind of fast and cool and fast, but it's not the SI, so it's not really fast. And, I mean, there are people that will argue anymore that Civic SIs aren't fast anymore, really. Unless you do lots of work to them. So you got that to contend with, even. Pardon me. So yeah, I mean, it looks nice, and it's been a reliable car, and it's efficient. It's done most everything I've asked of it. But definitely, if I were buying a car now, it would probably have more than 2 doors. So I could bring my homies along. And if it had less than 2 doors, it would need to be a pretty dedicatedly agile, fun sort of car, like a Miata or, I don't know, Mustang or something. Very different routes to the same general idea of have fun in your car and don't worry about other people. Worry about maybe having one passenger that you're concerned about. If you're really interested to see, Alfa Romeo is, of course, supposed to be coming back to the American market. And one of the cars that's supposed to be coming back with them is the next Alfa Romeo Spider, which will share a platform supposedly with the Mazda Miata. And that seems potentially pretty interesting. It'll be, I'm sure, overpriced next to the Miata, but, ouch, I went too fast. And you're sitting there asking, but wasn't that the point, Bobo? And I would say, yeah, I guess it was. So I can't complain too much. I got time and room enough to do this. Why the F not? Cowcatcher! Hey. So, yeah. Venturi Atlantique. Alright, let's exit out of here. Big money. No whammies. I can dig it. Let's continue. Now the big question becomes, do I get that Alpha 155 touring car? Do I get the Audi LM edition, the Audi TT LM edition? Do I go back and figure out one of the other cars that I would need or maybe want? Excuse me. For a great special edition car. Well, either way, let's sell this bad boy. Bye-bye, bad boy. I tell you what, let's go get the 155 touring car. Because the sound of it is just funny. I mean, in real actual life, it's probably pretty cool and inspiring, and if you listen to YouTube videos, they just have the sound of it. It's pretty cool. I'm in the car. Let's go to this event and let's tear it a new one. Let's go into settings. Yeah, see, it's actually 552 horsepower. I can't get some other kind of chip for it. I doubt there's actually much I can do for it other than put it on super soft tires. Let's start this mother. Yeah! Yeah! Listen to the car of doom. Yeah. We're just ridiculous, guys. You guys just need to abandon all hope. Nice knowing you. Also, look at those rev counters. Why, yes, those are numbers you would be far more likely to see on a motorcycle tachometer than a car tachometer. You're absolutely right. It's a very high-strung V6. It's a bit silly is what it is, but I'll take it. It is putting me at something of an advantage to the other Alfa Romeo 155s and 156s. Like I said, if you took your regular 155 or 156 and race modified and brought it here to the track, you'd probably be okay. But if you really want to stretch somebody and make them humble, you do something like this. It was in this era, in the sort of mid to late 90s, right before they shut down the DTM again, which is where it's one of the places where a young Dario Franchitti actually started to cut his teeth driving for Mercedes. Apparently the Mercedes in this series, at least from what I end up hearing about it now, was had a lot of potential to be fast, but was very difficult to drive as kind of a handful for many of the Mercedes drivers, but Dario actually quite enjoyed it. Dario Franchitti being a Scottish driver of, I guess, Italian descent, but Scotsman through and through. He was forced into retirement this season. Well, toward the end of last season, he was in a rough accident that messed up his back. But he's probably one of the better, if not the best, IndyCar drivers of sort of your modern era these days. Sort of the 90s to 2010s. I mean, he won, he's an Indy 500 winner, he's a series champion, he's done all kinds of crazy crap. And he drove these touring cars for some time. Let's continue. Now then. This is the kind of car that the computer will bring to Red Rock Valley. Would it actually win Red Rock Valley in the hands of a good driver? Probably not. It probably doesn't have the same ultimate speed potential. But we're going to try anyways. Also, 500 some odd. This is actually supposed to be the sort of thing we're supposed to bring to the GT500 Championship. Maybe I'll try the GT5 or 300 Championship, whatever this thing is. GT300 Championship. It's supposed to be the kind of thing I'm bringing there. But I don't know if you guys have noticed with this race, as we've run it as many times as we have now, that there are a number of cars that sort of do it that are clearly not as fast as some of the other cars. Like they'll always be like, there are one or two particular types of cars, like that Lister especially, for whatever reason. Lister's just not as ultimately fast a car as many of them in this. And one of the big things limiting the 155 here will be aerodynamics, which was a function of the series. You had to maintain there were fairly tight restrictions on the kinds of things you could do to the bodies of these cars. Well, directly in front of us is the other car I could have bought with $1 million, or was considering buying with $1 million, and will buy as soon as I have $1 million on hand again. So we can measure our ultimate performance next to that guy. There's a lot of downforce. Either that or it's just really understeering and stable, and I am confusing that with downforce. And you can already see one car way behind. That is most likely that Lister. That's the nicest I've ever gone through that turn, I think. Probably still don't have the top end to really break away up here. Then again, maybe I do. Alright. This is actually going pretty well. It's obviously remaining a challenge because I'm not just like dominating, but this car's really nice. I'm well pleased with this $1 million dream. And yeah, I'm just sort of dabbing on the brakes to see if I can get the car to rotate a little bit, as I'm still trying to accelerate through the turn. Yeah! Check this bad boy out. We're just rolling along here. Rolling with homies. I got room for my homies in this nice Italian sedan. Yeah, I'm not like just completely going crazy with dominance here. Like, I'm holding out, leaving hope for other guys to be able to catch up here, but I am sort of putting a stamp of authority on this. I'm not making it a boring race for the fans. They all see me out here. Maybe I'm making it a boring race for you fans at home by not talking enough, but these fans that are actually just sort of like colorful arrays of pixels on an angle, those people, they're getting their money's worth. I do quite enjoy this touring car. When it comes time to pick out a touring car for one of those various GT touring-y kinds of car championships, I'll be very tempted to select this bad boy right here. Hey, the one time I actually almost got to spin a little. Just super stable. Just super duper stable. Finish! But I guess that's the thing. This was apparently in terms of like a touring car slash saloon car, whatever you want to call it, style racing. This was apparently a technological peak in the sort of mid to late 90s. Where rally cars had kind of this crazy time period in the mid-80s. It was sort of the mid to late 90s in touring cars. Alright. I mean, obviously, greater technology exists for all these things now, and in some aspects it's being used in competition, and in other aspects it's been banned in competition because it just makes the cars too fast, too dangerous, and maybe not even as entertaining to watch. Let's overwrite that. Traction control, for example, is one that various series go back and forth on all the time. Like, no, traction control, the driver should have to modulate the throttle as he comes out of a turn, otherwise there's no test of a driver's skill involved. Well, you know, that's all very subjective, I guess. Is this what driver skill is all about? Is something else what driver skill is all about? Is the nerve to, I don't know. Whatever it is. I'm clearly just rambling on now. When I should probably just say goodbye here. And when I come back next time, I guess I'm going to have a Speed 12 to sell. Maybe I'll attempt to earn some more money. But either way, this is Bobo the Vulture. This is Let's Play Gran Turismo 2. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye now!